How's it going, guys? It's Jack Bing here, and today I want to show you guys something a little bit different to what we usually do. Often we're looking at Photoshop or Premiere or something on the computer, but today we're going to be focusing on this thing. And in particular, we want to be looking at Instagram and your Instagram grid. Now, I've learned fairly recently that that's actually something that's super important to people and something that they like to have the actual grid itself. When you look at it, it looks all kind of the same and nice, and I get it. I totally get it. I really like photography and video making, and so that grid is kind of like your own art piece in a way. So here's how to make your grid look awesome and congruent and the same all the way through, only using your phone. So before we get into the screen recording here, firstly, all I want to say is that I'm not sponsored by any of these apps. No one's telling me to tell you guys about this. These are just ones that have worked in my experience, and I'm sure there's also other ones that do the same kind of thing. But these ones I can guarantee get you the results that I think that is what you really want to get on Instagram. So this is what works for me. If you guys find other ones, definitely let me know in the comments below. But here we go. So this first app here is called Faded. And what I've got here, I've made a folder on my phone called Instagram Grid, and I've imported in 9 photos because 9's going to get us a nice grid. And tip number 1 that I need to tell you from the get-go, it almost doesn't matter about all the editing, all the filters, all those things in the whole world if you don't already establish yourself a little bit of a color palette. So for example, what we're going to look at here is kind of beachy kind of vibe. So where I live, we're on the coast, we're on the beach. A lot of your photos are going to be that kind of thing, blue skies, nice waves. So what our color palette's going to look like is probably a lot of white, a lot of blue, and maybe like a little bit of yellow, but nice and warm. So you need to know that those are your colors. Or if you live somewhere where it snows, your color palette might be white, black, and blue. Or if you live in a desert, you might have a lot of orange and blue. You have to work out the kind of look that you want to have. So I also encourage you to check out other Instagram pages, do a bit of Googling, look at the kind of vibe that you want to set, because you need to plan before you start when you're taking these photos. So as you can see here, I've got these ones now. I've specifically chosen the colors, mostly blue, a little bit of kind of white, and a little bit of, I guess, that hint of kind of brown or yellow. Okay, so here we are editing this photo. Now I'm going to click on this little guy down here, and this gives us the kind of basic things that we can just tweak a little bit. Things like exposure, which I'm going to bring up just a tad. Contrast, which I'm also going to bring up just a tad. Same with brightness. What we're going to do is go to this fade here. I actually really like that fade to be up a fair bit. Kind of fades the blacks a little bit. And saturation as well. I'm going to bring that up so those blues really pop in this image. So we'll just click the tick down in the bottom corner there. And then we've got these filters that actually come with it. So I'm just going to clean filter. And there's this one up here called Angel Island. So I'm just going to leave that how it is. Click the tick there. Now what I've done is I've actually created what I want all our photos to look like. So rather than have to edit all our photos exactly the same, I can swipe down and it saves the preset. So I just go save preset like that. I'm just going to call it subscribe to Jack Bing. Just feel like that's a good name. And then that preset's done. And now what we're going to do is just go back, and what I'll do is here, I'll fast forward through this bit, but I'm just going to apply that preset that we just made to all the other photos. So here we go. Okay, so I applied the presets to all those photos, saved them into the album, and that was meant to be a really epic time lapse. I have no idea when, but at some point my card filled up, so didn't go as planned, but that's okay. Got a new card in there, and all the photos have had the preset applied. So what I'm using right now is an app that's called Preview, and I think it's just called Preview app. You can find it in the App Store. I'll link both the apps below so that you can find them and use them. But what I'm going to do is though, you can actually add photos in and preview what it would look like on your grid. So we did 9 photos, so I'll add them in. I'm going to go to the library there. Now these are the 9 that have had the edits, so I'm just going to add all those in and click done and watch them go in here, and you can see this amazing little grid that we've got happening. So you can see a bit of white, a bit of blue, And I guess if you ignore the bottom 9, because my grid personally on my Instagram, by the way, at Jack Bing, if you want to follow, same as YouTube. I mean, I'm not giving it a great rap, but I don't really care about the grid so much myself. But if you look at those top 9, you can see what we've done here. We've created the blue, the white, the kind of splash of yellow, that kind of really light kind of yellow brown splash. And if you continued on with that trend, you'd have this really nice kind of congruent, consistent grid. And it's just about creating that preset and being smart about what you take photos of. If you take something that's dark and you take something that's light, it's almost impossible to make them look the same. So like I said at the start, think about your color palette, think about what you actually want it to look like, do a little bit of research yourself, create the preset using that faded app, apply it to all your photos before you upload them. That's what you've got the phone there for. It's amazing that you can process images like that on your phone before you upload them to Instagram. And then have a look on the preview. If you like how it looks, chuck it on Instagram. Done deal. It's that easy, all in your phone. Didn't even have to use the computer. There's really expensive programs on computer like Lightroom and Photoshop where you can do these kind of things, but just using a couple of apps you can actually replicate it and basically do exactly the same thing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you learned something and it's something that you can apply into your own Instagram account. If you did, click the like button, helps out with the YouTube algorithm thing. Click subscribe. I put up a video at least once a week, often more. I love seeing all these subscribers coming in. I really appreciate it, guys. And if you do like the content, click subscribe, see what comes out next. Hopefully you'll like that as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy Instagramming. Follow Jack Bing if you want to see the kind of stuff that I do. And I'll see you in the next video.